Hey, I'm Dr. Oliver, and welcome to the Pathophysiology paper Fireside chat. I got a fire? Let's chat. So in this video, I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about the 6 criteria plus the 7th that we're going to be looking at in the paper, at least show you how to access those. Then I'd like to talk about how you can keep track of your sources so that you can remember where you got each little factoid from. And then I would like to show you how I would put my information together and satisfy criteria 1. So in this video, I'm going to be moving around back and forth, sharing different screens with you. So it may seem a little bit disorienting, but right now I'm in Canvas and I have clicked on the pathophysiology paper instructions that are in the pathophysiology paper assignment module in Canvas. And if you come down just a little way, you're going to see these 6 criteria. Now there is a 7th, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit further and show you the 6 are, this is the grading rubric. And if you come down here, the last 2, the paper formatting and the in-text citations and the references, that's the 7th criteria. It's worth 20 points. So you'll want to make sure you watch that video. But today I'm going to focus on criteria 1. Developing a description of a pathology. And the pathology that I'm going to be working on is called Osgood-Schlatter's disease. So let me show you how I am going to work with some sources and keep track of information that I'm pulling from each source. Now, I did a quick search. I just typed in Osgood-Schlatter's disease. I'm using the search engine start page. And I searched through a few of these, and I decided that I liked 3. And the thing that I did to determine that the 3 I chose are the 3 that I think are good is that I just went through and I just looked at, first of all, the bolded titles, and that's telling me this is laid out very much like my paper. Certainly there's less information in here than in some other papers. And let's see, and I just searched through each one of these, and I decided that there was information in here that I thought would be really good for my initial description. All right, so I'm going to go back into my word processor. I'm using Word because I'm on a laptop, and I've got a paper that I'm going to title, a document I titled my Patho paper sources. So here's my paper. I don't have anything there yet. So what am I going to put? Well, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to what I'm going to do here. I'll just tell you. I'm going to copy the URL of my 3 sources that I want to use. And I'm going to drop them in here. And then under each one of them, I'm going to put a bullet with a little bit of information that I want to use that's coming from that source. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to go back to my sources. And let's look at this one. So this is from the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons. So this is going to tell me a little bit about the disease, describing the disease itself. I could do some of that, doctor's examination, treatment. Okay, so this might be good for a couple of criteria. So let's see, what do we have here? It involves inflammation. That's a good thing to know, of the patellar tendon and the tibia bone. I'm taking that. So I'm going to come up here to the URL. I'm going to copy it by doing the keystrokes, Control-C, and then I'm going to come to my document. So I'm going to switch screens, go into my document, and I'm going to drop it in there. Now, the reason why I like to do this is because I can just click on that. It's a link and it'll take me right back to that web page if I want to read the article again and get some more information out of it. All right, so I'm going to put a bullet here, and I said it was inflammation of the patellar ligament and tibia. I'm going to find some more information that's going to help me flesh that out. Let me see if there's anything else I want to utilize from there. So I'm switching back to my screen. Let's see, Osgood's growth spurt. I'm going to put that in there, physical activity. So I'm going to say associated with growth spurts and physical activity. Oh, I got to do a screen share. Hang on. There we go. So associated with growth and physical activity. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I got to do another screen switch. So I'm switching back and forth, just so you know. Okay, I think I'm pretty good with this one. So let's go to the next one. This is my stat Perl. So I'm going to do a Control C of the URL. I'm going to switch back over to my document and I'm going to drop it in there. So I'm just hitting return a couple of times and there I've got it there, and I'm going to give myself a bullet. So I'm going to go back to that article and see what's there. Okay. So continuing education activities, giving me some objectives. Maybe I want to deal with that. Let's go to introduction. Osgood-Schlatters disease, also known as, yep, I'm taking that. In fact, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to highlight it and copy it. And Control C, going to switch screens, go back to my document. Can be a little tedious. I'm going to drop it in. Now, because I lifted that directly from another article, I'm going to put some quotes around it to remind me that I cannot use that language as it's written, that I'm going to have to do a citation specifically for that. All right. Let's go back to that article. I suspect there's going to be some good stuff in there. Okay, so sports. Okay, we got these sports. I might want to include that in my description. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and just do a copy and Control C, switch screens, go back to my document, and I'm going to drop it in here. I got to do a little formatting. Oops. And Control delete and oops, not that end. In, delete, and delete. Okay, good. And again, a quote around that because I don't want to be associated with stealing it. Okay, so let's go back to that. And let's see what else we have. Clinical atraumatic. Okay, I'm definitely going to use that probably like in the pathophysiology, atraumatic, insidious onset. Tenderness, okay, got all of that. Kind of said that earlier. Etiology, oh, so it's telling me about, yeah, I'm going to be coming back to this. Oh, risk factors, male, sudden growth, jumping and sprinting. Okay, so I'm going to definitely use that. So let me switch screens again. Risk factors, male, wrong male, growth. Okay, and let's go back to the screen again. And let's see what else do we have here. Got spurts. Okay, pathophysiology. I'm probably going to want to use this when I get to that part of my paper. I'm not going to worry about anything more at this point. Okay, this is going to be a good. This looks like a good resource. All right, let's go to the next one, the one from Cleveland Clinic. I'm going to copy that URL with a Control C, and then go back to my document where I'm going to drop it in there. So I hope you get the idea how I'm doing this, and give myself a bullet and then go back to the article and see if there's anything in there I want to use. Okay, so what can I say? Let's close that. So let's see, Osgood-Schlatters, the tendon pulls against the top of the shin bone. We got that. Connects called a, growth plate. Pulls on where new bone is forming. Oh, that's good to know. Pulls where new bone is forming. Pulls where new bone is forming. That's good to know. I'm probably going to want to put that in quotes because I believe I just stole it. Don't want to do that. I just typed that. Let me do a different share here. Let's put that in there. So I just typed pulls where new bone is forming. And since it was a direct quote, I put the quotes around it. Let's see, how common is it? Oh, very common. So it's common, growth spurt, playing sports, tight quadriceps. Okay, so there's some other stuff in here I'm gonna include. So I said it's common. Playing sports, again, I mean, we can, it's going to be in all of them. And there's growth spurt associated with it. Okay, so we've got a few things here. Let me make sure I'm sharing this with you. Yeah, I am. Okay. All right, so I've got some information here. I'm going to do a quick save, Alt FS. Go back here. Make sure that's saved. Okay, so Alt FS. Okay, now I've saved it. All right, so how am I going to organize this? Well, I'm just going to do a quick brainstorm right here, and I'm going to put each one of these in order, how they might show up. So I'm going to say Osgood-Schlatters disease is also known as, so there's a number one, and it's also known as this thing. And it involves inflammation of the patellar ligament and the tibia, and let me see, and it happens as a result of it pulling where there's new bone forming. Let's see, it's a fairly common condition. That's number 4, associated with up here, growth and physical activity. Physical activities involving such things as basketball and whatever else. There are some risk factors associated with this, such as being male and undergoing a sudden growth. And, you know, I might choose to fill in something else, but this is my first pass at drafting up that that description, which is criteria 1. And this could use some fleshing out, and I have 3 really good sources. So what other things might I want to put in here? Well, I could make a note here. It's like, okay, so I say what it is inflammation of the patellar ligament at the knee. And it seems like I read something about tight quads. So I might want to put that in there, go back and figure out where I read that. See what I'm doing? Figure out where I read that. Playing sports, growth spurt. Yeah. Common is, you know what else you could put in here? You could say it's common. And I don't believe there's no lasting effects. You tend to grow out of it. Effects. So I might want to include a couple of other nuggets just to kind of give my description a nice rounded beginning, middle, and end. And I would want to go back and find where I found those pieces of information about tight quads and no lasting effects, and then drop that in. And you notice I didn't use playing sports and growth spurt in the last one, but you know, I may rewrite this a couple of times, but at least I have a note where I found that information. So when I go back to put in my insight, my in-text citations, I can reference it correctly. So, all right, that is enough for this. So I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you at the next one.